As it's now an election year, all the goons like Charlie Kirk are doing the dirty work for MAGA and saying the quiet things out loud that Trump can't say. And as we get closer and closer and more people join that fight for relevancy, you'll see increasingly stupid things being said by these lunatics, ostensibly because to them, they view it as edgy and not just completely ignorant. So with that in mind, let's take a peek at MAGA's view on the Civil Rights Act.
The Civil Rights Act, though, let's be clear, created a beast, and that beast has now turned into an anti-white weapon.
Yeah, and that's the reality. And so we just need to fundamentally relook at a lot of our civil rights legal regime. And without that, even though I don't think it's sort of the magic bullet, but I think without that, there's limits to the amount of progress we're going to make.
Let's talk about discourse and dialogue. This topic would have been even more forbidden 4 or 5 years ago, but it's now becoming in more and more mainstream circles. Is that because the problem is becoming worse, or but our side is more courageous to confront it?
No, it's because more people have came out and voiced their clearly bigots with racist and prejudiced views, so now it's easier for other people who feel the same way to do so because they won't feel as ostracized and outcast. It's kind of an avalanche effect of racism that you're seeing here. Now, to be clear, the Civil Rights Act is not and never will be an anti-white machine. Giving black people equality isn't anti-white people, nor are any of the following related bills. It allowed black people to not have their votes disenfranchised. It got the wheels turning for equal rights in housing and to do away with things like redlining, no more segregation in schools, so black people had the same access to quality education and the same right to work so they couldn't be discriminated in employment. These are anti-white how? Because you're giving opportunity to black people and it has to be taken from the whites and this is a white person country, and I'm sure that's the rant that Charlie Kirk goes on when he pulls his white hood up and turns the camera off. I love that these people have essentially created the problem through first not seeing black people as equal originally, but then getting angered that because of their own prejudice, laws had to be passed to ensure that black people weren't going to be discriminated against. And then you're just upset that they have equal rights. Like them existing in a non-subservient role is just too much. And they're like, yeah, this is the problem. When in reality, you're the problem. It's Charlie Kirk, Mr. I get nervous when I see black pilots.
We've all been in the back of a plane when the turbulence hits or when you're flying through a storm and you're like, I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off. And I feel better now thinking about that.
No, I mean, like, you want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's the you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that before.
That's not who I am. That's not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has created.
When I see a black person walking down the street, I cross to the other side. But it's not my fault. Those aren't my beliefs. It's the left's fault. The reality the left has created by allowing black people to walk the streets freely. He essentially is saying it's not my fault that I don't think black people have skills or intelligence. I mean, the left could have just helped us keep them out of spaces of employment or education, but they wanted them to have equality. So blame the left. You're racist if you feel like this, and it's just the oldest trick in the book. You blame societal problems on whatever minority group is being given equality at the time because must be them, right? When the truth of the matter is, if you see a black pilot and the first thing you think is, he must not be qualified, that's racism. And nobody made you think that way. Just own it. I don't get why all racists also have to be cowards. If you think that in order to diversify hires, the standards have to be lowered, you're racist. Because ask yourself why. Why do you think that standards of quality have to be lowered for black people or women or minorities of any kind to have a job? It's because you think they're less smart, less qualified, or less able than their white male counterparts innately. You think it is an innate thing for black people. That is racist. It is inherently racist. DEI has been around since the Civil Rights Act in the 60s. 6 decades, right? These people Yet these people never bring the decades of data to support their claim that DEI causes a steep decline in standards and qualities, and that's because it doesn't. because there is no data to support these claims. And also, notice how quick their movement forgot CRT, forgot affirmative action, forgot all these other things that were going to destroy society. They don't care about those anymore because now they have a new thing. It's DEI. It's just move from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, to try and tear down as many barriers as you can to prejudice that our society has set up for these minority groups. If you enjoyed this video, we're Social Society. We're a commentary channel influenced by politics, society, and the economy. We are pretty left-leaning on this channel, but we're open to our right-wingers as well. The biggest thing here is having conversations that get everyone to the bottom of the truth. If that sounds like something that could interest you, consider smashing that subscribe button, leaving us a like, or even commenting on this video. We even have memberships available as low as $3 if you'd like to support, because the only way we become a society is together.